Are you recording? I think so. Cool, now he gets to edit in that couple of seconds of me saying that I'm recording. So welcome everyone to the panel where we do nothing but talk bad about popular media. Kidding. That is over on Tumblr. Oh god, that was very loud. I'm so sorry, artists. Please don't hate me. Thank you. So, welcome to Representation, Writing, Reading, and Appreciating the Diversity Rainbow. I came up with this title at 1 o'clock in the morning. Please clap if you think it sounds okay. Thank you all. So, as I mentioned earlier, AichiYume is my weeaboo name. Kidding. That's my panelist name. My human name is Amanda. You can call me either. Amanda is fine. I only don't respond to Mandy. And I am a writer and a fan of all trades. So not just anime, not just comic books, not just movies. Like, I never understood, well, I'm an anime fan. Okay, do you like anything else? No. So I'm a generalized fan person. So if you have a question about a thing, I probably have an answer. And if I don't, you get to put like 5 cents in a jar. Because every once in a while I will get like, hey, how do you feel about this really rare pair from Shadowhunters? And I'm like, what? Wasn't that an arc in Yu-Gi-Oh? What are you talking about, Shadowhunters? So, as far as questions recordings go, again, you are welcome to record. Please do. You will get links to tag all of my stuff. And I love questions. Stop me. We'll kind of see how timing goes, because I have about an hour and a half, and I want to be considerate to the person after me, because it is one thing I cannot stand is panelists that run long. Thank you.
There's no one after you.
There's no one after me? Hot damn. This will be like One Piece and we can take over. Just kidding. Don't say that in front of the volunteers. Yeah, she didn't hear it. We're good. So we might run a little bit long with questions maybe, and maybe when we're done you can come up and ask me stuff. Maybe again, ask me things about what I'm watching and stuff. So today, we're going to have a conversation about representation and diversity, and I'm sure most of you walked into this room thinking this is going to be awful. This is going to be one small, like, Tumblr feminist who doesn't know what she's talking about, and just like, only black people are good. That is not the case. So don't worry, we're not going to make this scary at all. There will be no super controversial opinions here, except for maybe about whether the dub or the sub is better. Most cases, the dub.
Not forever.
Fight me.
Depends on what it is.
5 minutes early and I decided to riot. So, let's ask a question. Why are we having this conversation? I'm sure many of you, or at least some of you, read the news, the fake news perhaps, and you've heard these words thrown around a lot. You've heard representation and diversity is ruining comics, and representation is important. You've probably heard these things a lot. The problem is that a lot of people aren't using them academically, they're using them colloquially. So representation kind of became this blanket umbrella term to describe a lot of things that it doesn't necessarily need to mean, and because of that, it's become monolithic and terrifying. So now, as writers and as readers, well, is this representation? Is this good representation? Is this cast diverse? Is it diverse enough? Is it good or bad diversity? All of those things matter. That is why we're having this conversation. I am one well-intended idiot, and I hope that maybe we can make this conversation a little bit less scary. By no means will this conversation end with this panel. You will not have all the answers when you leave. The sooner you embrace that, the easier that it is. But I hope to at least get you on the path. Like Virgil and Dante in the Inferno, let me at least get you on the path so that any other decision you make, you are better informed for it. Good? Yay. So we're going to handle this topic in 3 parts. We're going to handle race, we're going to handle religion, and we're going to handle orientation and identity. Don't worry. We're going to go on a little adventure. I love my vintage art, don't judge me. But before we get too excited about this adventure, there is a series of elephants in the room about this topic. As we mentioned, we've seen these words kind of thrown around a lot in a less than kind settings occasionally. Oftentimes when you hear diversity and representation used online, it's usually sort of a takedown of the media, like, oh, well, this comic book isn't diverse enough. It's like, well, let's figure out what that actually means. So we're going to go over a couple of the barriers to entry first, okay? We're going to go over those reasons now. I do also approve of this vintage art of kids hitting each other. It took a really long time to find. Who knows what cultural appropriation means? You can raise your hands, kind of. Okay. So cultural appropriation as a media and sociological term is neutral. It has no positive or negative connotation. All it means is that a colonizing culture appropriates or takes from a colonized culture. So Gwen Stefani dresses a slutty Native American in a music video is cultural appropriation. Major Lazer, who did the other music video where they're like Bollywood dancers, that is cultural appropriation. Disney making Moana is cultural appropriation. So it kind of became this word that was used to disarm people. It's like, that's cultural appropriation, it's bad. I'm sorry, most of us are not ethnically Japanese or Asian, some of us are, but we're at an anime convention. That is a form of cultural appropriation. Now it's not hurting anyone, but being aware of it then means that you can respect it more. I work so hard to know what I'm doing and know what I'm talking about when I work on these pieces. And cultural appropriation is used wrong so many times as a way to just shut down conversation. It's like getting punched in the stomach, and that's not fair. As a term, it doesn't mean any of those things. So don't be afraid of that word, but we're going to talk about ways to kind of ease that burn a little bit, okay? Questions, comments? So, feminism is another term that I never expected would go as rogue as it did. I think 99% of people that use the word feminism are using it wrong. The thing is with feminism especially is that there are different camps and styles. There's Mulvaney, there's Simone Boulevard, but there's so many different camps and styles of feminism. There is no right or wrong way to be a feminist. The wrong way to do it, though, is yelling at other women, or just yelling at women in general. That is how you're doing feminism wrong. So if you are saying, I'm a feminist and I'm going to slut shame this person in front of me, not you, you're beautiful, that is the one wrong way to do feminism. Mansplaining is great. I've had a couple of instances where I will be sitting up here and I like have my degree sitting up here. Well, what made you qualified to have this conversation? I don't know, my 5 degrees. And Eckhart Tolle is just an aspect of feminist theory that only women can write women problems, which we'll talk about sexualization when we get there. So while I don't necessarily agree with the idea of the women's writing, I also do understand that there are a lot of instances where a male writer will take 5 pages to talk about the thing, while a woman writer will say, I went to 7-Eleven to get passed. Good? So I'm old, fun fact. This is a lot of foundation, so I don't look old. Fight me, Kohai, I'm very old. Who remembers Captain Planet? Not that old. So, remember the lineup of Captain Planet, how it was this beautiful, diverse rainbow of varying shades of brown people? Could any of those characters tell you anything about their homeland? That's diversity for diversity's sake. If you just take the Crayola ethnic marker and color it over your character, and that means nothing else to them, you've done it wrong. If you are doing it to fill a quota, you're doing it wrong. If there is one thing that you can take away from this panel is whether you're writing, reading, criticizing anything, nothing should be done just because. This character is Japanese, why? This character is black, why? This character is gay, why? Nothing should be done just for the sake of it. And that's where, so again, being kind of old, that really stuck with me. That we had all these, well, there's your black character, well, he's garbage. It's like, Static Shock, there's your black superhero, yeah, he's awful. He's a wooden figure of what an urban youth should be. And then you cut out the best part, which is best friend being gay. Cut out that part, how dare you? Avoid this at all costs. And there's been a lot of pressure on writers to have more diverse series now, which is important, but you should, again, it should not be done to fill quota. If you're doing it because you're afraid of Tumblr feminists, don't do it. because then there's a higher likelihood you're going to do it wrong. And even I fall into that. Yes.
Something I've been thinking about is that, like, when I'm trying to do world build my own setting, I try to just make a bunch of background characters just be diverse, because that seems like the way it should be, despite the fact none of them are actually fleshed out enough to be capable of any of that. But in many ways, I am making them diverse because for diversity's sake. But I'm not sure that way is necessarily bad.
Yeah, that's the least harmful way to do it. There is that issue of comic books will have this problem, like, oh, this comic book is diverse, and there's like one brown character in the background. Like, no, that's not a diverse comic book. You filled your quota to get printed, but you're not a diverse comic book. So where you're going, I don't think is wrong. And this is going to sound terrible. If it scares you, don't do it. If you do not feel like you can capture that story, which by the end of this panel you will be, dang it, don't.
I would just
You're gonna get there.
I would just think like having random background characters who are gay, like I never necessarily explore that, but yeah, they're gay, and
well, that's queer baiting, and we're gonna get there.
I just not sure it's wrong to have like a random relationship shown if some of them are gay. Like,
well, that's fine. Yes.
That's sort of what I'm talking about. That's
okay.
They're primarily because I feel like it would be unrealistic not to be there.
I agree, and actually that's a very, very valid point, is that you look at some of these, so like superhero movies are a great example. I don't know if any of you just finished watching the hot mess that was Infinity War, but I have not seen a more sanitized version of New York. Where are all the rats? Where are all the people of color? Where is everyone? What version of New York are you in? Did you go to the Hamptons and say it was New York? Because I've been to New York, and it looks nothing like that. Even the Spider-Man version, where they had to really, really be careful about buildings. Good? So queer baiting. Who knows what this term means? I love all of you in the back. Can I just say that? I love all of you in the back. So queer baiting is a thing that especially a lot of like American superhero TV shows will do, where they'll hint at a character being gay. Like, oh, she's never really had a boyfriend, but she's surrounded by all these beautiful women, but they're never going to date. That is queer baiting. It was done also a little bit with John Constantine in the show Constantine, because Constantine is one of the rare, beautiful examples of a bisexual superhero, but he never gets to be bi. He never gets to be bi. They just say, he's bi. Okay, cool. Pretty sure that means something, but sure, continue to show him yes.
What would be, okay, so there are a lot of just like travel ahead where the hinting is not subtle at all. Is it possible that maybe it can walk a very thin line between being subtle and being too blunt, or is it something that maybe not a lot of people know how to handle?
So it's a little bit of both. So a little bit of it is that as an old smut writer, I do need to be hit over the head with it. Also, it's called queer baiting because it's often in the bait and switch. So Supergirl had this a little bit, where they're like, Supergirl like first season like devoid of men, and it was like a Amazon wonderful like sapphic party, and then suddenly they had to rush to get a man in the series because it got too gay apparently. So that's queer baiting. That's when you do like the bait and switch. You're right. There are some where it's just so subtle and so nice and so relaxed that you don't know. So slightly unrelated, there's a smutty comic called The Rock Cops. And there's this one character who is trans. And it was so subtle that I didn't know that this character was trans until someone in the comments was, wow, he really shouldn't be sleeping with his binder on. I'm like, what? That's how you do it. That's how you can handle it. Is it should be so kind of just mellow and under the radar. You should not ever be hit over the head with anything. This character is gay! That's not necessary. But also do not bait and switch. Yes.
Would you say that queer baiting, the difference there is really trying to get the points but then taking out versus actually having a character who is something beyond their sexuality? Because not everybody's going to wear a sign saying, I'm gay.
Right, I am a power bomb. Not everyone's going to wear that shirt.
Some people do.
I will.
And if they do, but not everybody's going to.
Absolutely. No, it is 100% just an execution. Yes. Oh, that he's not pansexual? I fucking hate it. I absolutely hate it. They keep hinting at it, and Deadpool 2 might be the most overtly gay superhero movie ever, so snaps for that. They did something kind of right. But it's such a big part of his character that it is a little bit frustrating that they're not really ready to commit to it. Also, criminal misuse of a very, very fine actress, and I will leave that blank open just in case someone hasn't seen that movie yet. Anything else? No? We're good? Yay. But wait, I'm cis, white, hetero, whatever. So I read a tweet not too long ago that a man said that being called a cis, white, hetero person was the same as being called the N-word. To which that reaction is the exact same one that I had of, sir, no, it's not the same. So this kind of goes back again to the woman's writing of, well, if I'm all these, can I write these stories? The answer is yes with research. So there is nothing wrong with being any of those things. I love my friends across spectrums and everything. The problem is when you feel entitled to do something because you are any of those things or when you are exploitative. So it's when you are one of those things and you continue to perpetuate negative stereotypes or things to make money, that is when it is problematic. So when you're one of those like dime store or Harlequin romance novelists that keeps perpetuating gay smut because she likes money, you are the Antichrist and I hate you. Me writing smut on Tumblr, however, very different. I'm an ethical smut peddler. You can tag that. That is very accurate. I do my best to be an ethical smut peddler.
If you make a book brand and start selling books under that title.
I will. Yes, you are welcome under my umbrella. Questions, concerns, comments about that? Y'all know what I mean when I say, well, we're gonna get into orientation. I don't know why I'm trying to explain this stuff now. I have offended someone. Who here has Tumblr? Who has offended someone on Tumblr? It's not hard, is it? So I'm going to tell you guys a story. I don't like Yuri on Ice. Yeah, and I said it. And you know what someone said? You don't like Yuri on Ice because you're a homophobe. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. You mean actual bisexual queer person me? I am a homophobe. Try it again, child. Try it again. Fight me. It is very easy to offend someone. Now, the issue in that is, did you offend that person because you actually did something wrong? There's a writer that I read of, it's a comic called Never Satisfied. And one of their characters is gender non-binary, they, them. And a lot of readers keep misgendering this character. And this writer would get up in arms, would ban you from Discord, would fight if you misgendered this character. And I never understood it. And then I was on Tumblr, and this writer said, by you denying my OC their pronouns, you deny me of mine. Because that writer is also they, them, non-binary. That's when it made sense. I now have to be super respectful of this person's pronouns because I know how important it is. So don't oh, I offended someone on Tumblr, I can't make anybody happy. Nah, sometimes you did mess up. Sometimes you did make a mistake, and I'll take it. However, know when you are in the right and know when you are in the wrong. There is nothing wrong with me saying that I was tired of the summer of gay ice skating. There is nothing wrong with me saying that. That person deciding that the reason I don't like this cartoon is because I'm a homophobe is in the wrong. That makes sense? Questions, comments, concerns? Yay. So, we have now built a bridge over troubled waters. Please raise your hand if you understand that reference. Thank you. I feel less old now. Let's really get started. Let's talk about race. And I actually do love that I do have a very diverse panel, and that makes me very, very happy, and I'm so glad to be here, because that's always been one of my biggest fears when I do focus panels like this, is that it tends to kind of make people not pause on it. It's like, well, I know what I'm doing, I'm perfect. No, not at all. Probably not. So I'm glad to have you guys here. Please know that I appreciate and love every single one of you. I just paint really neutral, so I always look like I'm a little bit unhappy. So here are the main tenets of handling race. Imagine each and every single character complexly. One of the best things that I will say I loved about this recent movie thing is all the very, very proud black people coming after Black Panther. That has been so inspiring to listen to stories of people saying, I was never proud of like my mom's Nigerian clothes, and now I am. I was never proud of like my family's dishes from like Ghana, but now I am. Like that blew my mind, because as an African American, I have a very complex history with the motherland. But I like Wakanda because it's not real. But I, like many black folk in America, don't know how to feel about Africa. I don't know if I want to know which part of this continent that I was lifted from hundreds of years ago. Not every black person is going to have the same reaction to a thing, and that is true for literally every race. If you start by writing a character that's strong, their race will either be important, but not the main thing that defines them. One of the best things I ever said during a panel, and it got me a gosh darn standing ovation, was you are more than your skin tone. That doesn't mean that it's not important to you, though. It can absolutely be important to you, and you can honor that legacy, and you can honor that history, and it not be the only thing that defines you or your characters. Does that make sense? Thank you. When in doubt, y'all do research. There's one thing that annoys the heck out of me is when you're like, this character is from Samoa. Cool, do you know anything about Samoa? Do you know anything about this land? Do you know anything about the languages, the people, what they look like, their flag, their national song? Do you know anything about this place? No, stop it. Great example, my uncle is from the Ivory Coast in Africa. And if you say, I'm going to write a character from the Ivory Coast, cool, what language does he speak? Trick question. The answer is French because colonialism. So if you start out with this character speaking in like tongue clicks and bird calls, one, that's racist, and two, inaccurate. So, when in doubt, do your research. Again, if I can say anything, do things methodically. Don't do anything just because. You're going to hear that thread said a lot during this panel. If you want to do it, make sure that it's intentional. And if it's like a new world that you're doing, there's this mean thing called coding. Who knows what coding means? Air 5. So coding is a film-ish kind of term where anything that you watch or read has a certain message behind it. So who saw the hot mess that was the movie Bright? What are the orcs? That's coding. Everything that is presented on the outside about those orcs is that they are an ethnic minority. The only problem is that it's bad coding because I really don't believe any world that has orcs and elves and dragons and dark lords would have like African slavery or the Alamo or fairy lives don't matter. I hate Bright, fun fact. Fun fact, we could have an entire different panel on how much I hate Bright. But that's coding. So even if you do a fantasy work, you still have coding. Guess why you have coding in fantasy work? The answer might surprise you. Who knows the answer to that? No one? The answer is J.R.R. Tolkien. He is the reason why your orcs are coded black. He is the reason why your elves and your dwarves are coded white and pure and calm and beautiful and fair of skin and have never done anything wrong in their lives. You can blame J.R.R. Tolkien, and he, to his grave, was defensive about it. Because he even mentioned the orcs, like the not-so-lovely Mongol types, and then when people call him on it, he said, no, you're reading too much into my war allegory. That is why you have coding even in fantasy races. So you can't get around with, oh, they're aliens. Oh god, that's hard. Like, you can't just say, oh, they're aliens, it's fine. Nope, you still have coding. If you watch a Star Trek, guess what? The aliens are still coded. avoid your broad generalizations and your stereotyping. I hate that I still have to say this. I hate that it's 2018 I still have to say this. But these broad stereotypes, man, they're getting a little tired, a little exhausting. I happen to be one loud black person, but I do not reflect my entire group. I hope I am not the representative of every African American in America. I apologize for that if I am. It's a very small footnote, but it's still a footnote. If you've watched the Michael Bay movie, you know why it's still a footnote. Michael Bay, he's here to save us. And then again, remember, race can be important and not be a defining point. I am proud of being African American. That does not mean that it is the only thing that defines who I am. Before anything else, I am a human person, I am a writer, I am a fangirl, I am all of those things that are encompassed by the fact that I happen to have this beautiful chocolate skin that will never age until I die. And then around 60, it will all go to hell. Black is not crap, that's not a lie. Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you.
I also love you.
I have a large heart and I'm willing to accept a lot of people, yes. Jesus Christ. Should we just start a harem? What's our OT3 name?
Race fans, he loves the panelists.
Woo! Oh, God. Not all of you, damn it. Oh, y'all didn't raise your hands fast enough. Thank you. Did you have a question?
I do love you, but you did kind of remind me of Skid Butt that Transformers. I hated those guys so bad.
Yeah, you're a black person. Of course you did. He was making fun of you.
I was trying to.
Do you know what that was? That was Michael Bay. Hey, black people, you're not here.
Yeah, I was trying to get you guys.
You never will. You know what I won't ever get out of my memory is great actor John Turturro being underneath a robot scrotum.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, you stayed in here with me with that.
See, now there's a whole panel right there about how much we hate Transformers 2.
Lindsay Ellis, who was formerly the Nostalgia chick, did an entire thing on Michael Bay and the Transformers. It's called The Whole Plate. One of the best video essays you will ever see. Questions, comments about race? Nothing? Wow, okay. Religion! Raise your hand if any of these symbols confuse you. At least one should. Guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. I had to research a couple of these symbols. I'm like, what the heck is this? My favorite being up here towards the top where you have the symbol for Zoroastrianism, which is apparently still a religion that can upset people about. Yeah. Guys, do your research. Again, if you don't understand any of those symbols, Google it out. Nothing wrong with that. I have at least 3 different books on world theology, which there will be an entire resources section for you guys because I love you. I have recommended reading for you at the end. Yes. Research. Here's a big one. Respect religious iconography and figures. I mentioned my religion earlier. I'm Roman Catholic. I'm a proud Roman Catholic. Do you have any idea how tired I am of the fetishization of Catholic schoolgirls? I was one of those schoolgirls, and there is nothing that is less sexy than a skirt that touches your ankles. You don't want to sleep with anyone in that. That's not fun. Do you know what I did with my uniform? I burned it. I never understood the fetish, ooh, a naughty Catholic schoolgirl. No, I hated that uniform. Anyone in my school hated their uniform. Most of us burned ours in a bonfire after 8th grade. Those of us who didn't go to Nolan Catholic High. Woo, Nolan Catholic High, didn't go. This goes for a lot of other things. I'll bring up Black Panther again, because Black Panther did have one egregiously horrible instance of cultural appropriation that almost made me leave the theater, which is the monkey tribe.
Yeah.
They say that their god is Hanuman. Now, whatever unpaid intern decided to just Google monkey deities probably very quickly found Hanuman because he is an actual Hindu god. And congratulations, in your fake black epic space opera, you added an actual cultural icon who is important to millions of people. And you made him a joke because Mbaku is meme lord. Yes. It is.
appropriate.
And it's still wrong. It's still incorrect. So, and that's something that you'll hear a lot. Well, it was like this in the comics, or it was like this in the book. Still wrong. Still not good. And if anything, it's even worse because the comics were in a different time, so it was okay to do that. It's not now. So we can go all the way back to Black Panther's roots as being an angry analog, and we can talk about all the things that are from a different time. So you're right, it is from the comics. Doesn't make it any better. You easily could have just made an original god that fills in that place. Mm-hmm. So respect that. Again, if you, I think there's one comic that's handling the crazy Miss Marvel and handling her religion. Because you can tell these writers did their research. You can tell these writers either did their research or they know a lot of people, and it's great. And you can tell if it's not exploitative, doesn't feel forced, doesn't feel awful, and the struggle and everything feels authentic and real. The whole, I'm a Catholic, but I want to be a sinner, calm down. We know you ate bacon on Friday. We know you didn't observe Lent. Yes.
One thing I've often wondered about when you're being Catholic, some of the way anime would use Christianity. Fascinating, I know. I'm like, it's very disorientating for me, and I'm like, what's so interesting?
You know, I struggle with that a lot actually, because I'm a huge anime fan. The way the East views Christianity and Catholicism is stressful. I think there's only been one series that handles it well, which is Kids on the Slope, where one of the characters, even though he's ethnically Japanese, is like Roman Catholic, and he gets a lot of crap for it because it's like set in the 50s. And they actually handled it really, really well. It was really clever and really subtle. Again, not beating you over the head with look at all the crucifixes. So just respect them. There are a lot of rules when it comes to religion. Unfortunately, if you want to add this into your series, you'll have to learn them because you don't want to offend anyone, lest you feel the wrath of Tumblr. Avoid bias if at all possible, and that's hard. We live in a very charged environment right now, and there's a lot of bias in a lot of things that we do. So even me being Catholic has a lot of bias from other Christians, which I think is the funniest thing in the world. I took a couple friends to mass. They're like, well, it's not like an actual church, right? No, we just go out in the woods and frolic naked. Yes, it's an actual church. It's been here since like the 1800s. What are you talking about? Bias is hard because that makes you then confront something in yourself. So if you do, and bias, again, is not a negative term. We all have it. If you are sitting here and you think you don't have bias, unfortunately, you're lying to yourself. Everyone has some bias. Everyone has something that they're afraid to touch or they're afraid to tackle. Figure out what that is. And from there, you can work on it. I think that's honestly where research has been great. Because I have a couple biases. Like I've always been afraid to tackle some religions. Research is the thing that helped me get through that.